Welcome back to the channel. Today is all about Mike's 67 Firebird. We just did a bunch of upgrades to it, very much a driver style build, so I'll show you all the details. So aesthetically on this car, we really didn't change a whole lot from the outside. All the big upgrades were mechanical components and some comfort type stuff to make this thing a really solid driver. Engine bay wise, it's got a lot of our standard stuff: aluminum radiator, dual electric fans, full pulley system that houses all the power steering, alternator, water pump, air conditioning, compressor, all that kind of stuff. The engine bay, kind of the goal with it was to keep it a little more subtle, so we black Cerakoted like the intake tube and the radiator and a lot of that stuff just to make it blend in a little bit more. Coil covers, some other little dress up stuff to hide some of the electronics. We ended up modifying the harness as well. It's got a Terminator X in it. We cut the harness apart, re-loomed it, and changed the routing of some things to route, like the injector wiring and stuff like that a little better. Detroit Speed makes a variable speed wiper motor for this, which was really nice, honestly. If he's not afraid to drive this thing in the rain, so it gives you just a little bit more convenience with that, not hearing the wipers squeak across the windshield. The engine is it's basically an LS3, so it's a 6.2, but it was bored and stroked, so it's more like a 7-liter now, 427, and it makes good power. I mean, you feel it come in really good above 2,500 RPMs where it really takes off. So this is basically an LS7. They discontinued the LS7, but that's probably my favorite engine. You get a good amount of torque with it, a good sound once you get into the RPMs. It just feels really good overall. Motor mounts and all that stuff is all pretty easy to do. There's so many conversion parts for these vehicles. The headers fit up really well. Actually, they're long tube header that doesn't hang all the way on the ground, so I always appreciate that. TKX 5-speed, we've done a bunch of those. That feels really good. So it's a hydraulic clutch with an internal slave cylinder. Really pretty easy to set up and use once it's all put together and measured out right. 5-speed's great, it gives you overdrive, but there's a couple different ratios you can get for these too. So you can get a pretty aggressive first gear, which is really fun off the line, and then you can kick it into overdrive on the highway and it just calms right down. We also did a quick ratio steering gear in this, which this is the first car that I think we put the Detroit Speed gear in, and I gotta say I really like it. They must have, they make them really tight, so the steering play is very minimal, but the ratio is just perfect. It's a bit more what you expect to feel in a modern car versus, running this thing around just to make a turn into a parking lot. It really tightens it all up. The QA1, the coilovers in the front, mainly just for the ride control, a little bit of ride height adjustment, bigger sway bar, all these little things that you can really feel. I mean, these cars originally, especially with the big block 400 in it, were kind of topsy-turvy and all over the place, and it's incredible what you do, what you feel when you add coilovers for a little rigidity and shock adjustment, a bigger sway bar, and how that even affects the steering. Because as that body rolls, you can really feel it. Coming to the inside of the car, got air conditioning, so all the vintage air stuff. And honestly, I think this is the first unit we've installed of their newest generation, and I really like it. It's got, the switches are better because you got more adjustability into them. They've got a computer mounted on the unit that controls all the blend doors, and it seems to be working out really well. Plus they've got all kinds of new vents and switches, that control panels that look totally factory. So anyways, really pleased with all that. Blowing cold. Also, Dakota Digital gauges, kind of the staple for what we do a lot of. Very original looking gauges, just with a lot of modern function, especially once you turn them on and they light up. You can really see the difference. One of the highlights of the interior is the seats. So Mike's a pretty tall guy. He's already got these adjusters on the seat that put the seat farther back, so some different brackets. And then he also felt like it was too high and the seat was a little too bouncy, which is really common in these old cars. Like my Chevelle, I would probably sit too tall if it wasn't so worn out. So Tony Miller at Stitches made these seat bases for us. Basically got rid of all the springs and built it all out of foam, like you would more of a modern seat or a lot of the custom stuff that we have done. But he used the stock seat frame, so it's got the same like hinges on the side, the same back, the same upholstery on the back and everything, and built that whole base out of foam and was able to cut it down, fit it with Mike in the car and get us to where his eyes were in the right spot and it felt good to him. And it just gives it a little bit more of a solid feel. I think seats are a really big part of the car and how it feels and just your whole perception on it. It's kind of one of those things that you often gets overlooked, but if your seating position is wrong, it really kind of ruins the car for the driver and how they feel about driving it. But anyways, these turned out really good. I think this is a trick we'll be doing on other cars in the future. As you look inside, it doesn't look any different. Otherwise, on the inside, we just did a full rewire on the car, which worked out really good. There's the rattle. Also love the tack in the hood. Such a cool feature. Works really well. The old school heads-up display. On a different note, this car does have vibration that we haven't figured out yet. Another big upgrade on this car was the full 4-bar QA1 rear suspension. So it's kind of a newer kit for them as an assembly. It came with the 9-inch housing and everything. We're able to order it in a narrowed width, which worked out great with the mini tubs that we put in it. It's got a 295 rear tire. I believe you could go up to 305 or even a 325 with this mini tub. But with the tires that Mike had picked and the rims and the back spacing and everything, this worked out fine. Just that little bit of width though, in the back of a Firebird, you can really tell the width difference and how good it looks. It's got double adjustable shocks, matching the front and all QA1 stuff. Big sway bar, stainless fuel tank. It's also narrowed for the wheel tubs to give room for the exhaust to pass through. Stainless exhaust that twists through there. It got really tight with this car on the exhaust. There really wasn't a lot of room with the 4-bar to snake that through there, but it all worked out. Willwood brakes on all 4 corners. The mini tub install, I think, is probably one of the cleanest ones out there. It seems like I made a post on that, and a lot of people were freaking out about how good it looked. Brian did a great job on that. And also shout out to all the guys. So everybody kind of had their hand in this like they do on all of our projects, but a project like this moves through the shop at a pretty quick pace because there's not a lot of variables and not a lot of change orders. Mike kind of knew what he wanted to do going into it. So it's fun to see, you know, Brian come in and do a lot of the mechanical stuff, get the engine in, Cody coming in to do the wiring, Connor shooting a lot of the stuff, and yeah, just getting it all to come together, everybody, you know, doing their best on it. Mike's a newer customer to us, and he seemed very pleased with everything that we've done, and I hope to do more work for him. He got to go drive the car for the first time yesterday, and the way he was talking about it was, understandably, he's like, you just, you know, you do the research and you pick the parts that you want to do in your car, and at some point you just kind of hope that it's all going to come together and feel as good as you imagined it would. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because you go, you know, he drove it in with 400 4-speed in it and stock suspension, and that's what he knew, and he did a lot of research. He really enjoyed it, helped us pick out a lot of the parts and kind of roll the dice, and hopefully it feels good. But he was super pleased yesterday driving it. He had a big smile on his face, and I really think he'll be stacking some miles up on this car, which is great. Which is what we hope for. It's a good thing for us to get that type of response, because really the car's only got 25, 30 miles on it so far. And I'm feeling all these little things I'd like to tweak and adjust, and he's looking at it like we're already there. I'm like, he hasn't driven it as much as I have either, but it's good to hear. Very good. The stainless exhaust out the back, pretty subtle, kind of like how we like to do it, just tucked out the back, but not totally kicking up all the dust or sticking straight out or doing anything super dramatic. I think from the backside you get that picture. You walk up to this car, you see it looks like a, you know, it's a pretty stock with Krager 67 Firebird. They're good looking cars by themselves. It's not like you have to do a lot to them, but it's pretty unassuming from the outside. I would have made Sierra happy. And then you start to get a glimpse of a coilover, a subframe connector, Willwood brakes, some stainless parts hanging. You see out the back from a distance, and you start to realize there's a little bit more going on with this car. I'd like to see someone challenge him at a stoplight. I think you'd take him too. He'd hit the sheet metal on his thing and bang some gears. Yeah, we're gonna have to dial in the links to make him hook up to his rig. On this car, we put the handheld for the Holly right in the console, just so he could see some of that stuff if he wishes. You can see a lot of basic stuff on these, plus all the monitors and stuff that the ECU sees. This Terminator has a BIM connection basically directly to the gauges. So what you're seeing on the gauges is what the computer's seeing, which is really nice because we've seen on other cars that have a standalone ECU and then gauges where we have to run two separate sending units. You can't always put the sending unit in an ideal location, so there is a difference between the two readings. It's really not that big of a deal if you know it, but it's kind of a nuisance. We always like to put, 500 miles is a really good spot to make it to on a complete mechanical overhaul like this, just to make sure that we're shooking it out as much as we can. 1,000 different parts that have to work together on these cars. We don't have millions like the OEs to design it all. But so far so good. We really haven't had any big issues with this car. It's felt really good. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part?
Yeah.
As much of an old car as this is, it drives really nice.
Yeah.
It still feels like an old car, but it feels secure.
Yeah.
As opposed to just an old car that has a lot of horsepower that doesn't feel good.
Yeah. That's something that happens a lot. People put a big block in something that doesn't have the ability to handle it. It feels dangerous. That was one of the first things Mike said too when he was driving. He's like, I feel like I could just jump in this thing and rip it down the highway, no problem. And he takes his hand off the wheel like, look at it, it's driving. I actually met Mike, the owner of this car, at a local car show, the C10 truck show, just about a year ago. Nice to have a local client come in and get to work with.
We should have even gone down to third.
There's something rattling in here, but the vibration, something's out of balance. It's just, there's no way around it, because when you cruising down the road, it feels like you're running over something. When you're going the same speed, and it feels like it's shaking.
Oh, the steering wheel shake?
Yeah. The shifter shakes, the mirrors start shaking, you let off, the RPMs go down, it's like the car just smooths right out. I don't trust this engine.
Anything, it's just like flywheel chatter?
So the engine's neutrally balanced. The flywheel is neutrally balanced. The engine builder supplied a cast flywheel. Transmission guys told him that he can't use that flywheel. It's not the right depth for the throwout. So he got a billet flywheel from them. So that's what's on there, not the one that the engine builder balanced. The billet flywheel on there. But it's from a reputable company, so I have to believe that it's fine. But what concerns me is on the paperwork for the engine, it says flywheel balanced to engine. So I'm like, okay, did they jack up the rotating assembly and they're trying to overcompensate with the flywheel?
Weird.
Is that why we're having this vibration? Because I've done a lot of LS's and they do not vibrate at all. Yeah, they super smooth. I don't know. We found a burned spark plug wire because one of the wires had rotated and hit the header. We replaced that, put new plugs in it. I'm not certain it's a tune issue, but I'm going to take it out to him and have a look at it. But when you rev it up, it goes, vibrates at 2,500, but you go past, it starts to smooth out about 35, and then you let off, and it goes woof, right over 2,500 on the decel. So it's, I don't think that tells me it's not tuned. That's engine vibration. Yeah, something's out of balance. So that's one of the things we're trying to sort out. Maybe you've experienced this and you have a different idea. Trying to avoid having to pull the transmission back out to check the balance on the flywheel and see if that's where it's coming from. But we have had an issue with a out of balance flywheel, and this is exactly what it felt like. So we'll have the tune check next week and see if he can notice any misses or anything. Another thing to kind of consider about the vibration is the engine is mounted pretty rigid. It's got like urethane, like energy motor mounts and tranny mounts. And then with the subframe connectors, we got rid of the rubber. They're basically solid, like the front subframe is solid mounted to the body. So you definitely have to expect a little bit of vibration to come through, but I think that it's a little bit more than what you should have. Overall, this thing's super fun to drive. I think Mike's gonna have a blast with it. I feel confident enough in it that you could jump in it and just drive it wherever. So it'll be fun. Sort out some little issues and send it down the road. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a really awesome project. Mike was a lot of fun to work with. We really enjoy doing these types of builds that are meant to be driven and have a very big purpose behind them, and the customer's gonna get out and enjoy it and drive it. So stay tuned for more. We've got more products coming, builds, everything. So check it all out.